was quite an outstanding one, an annus mirabilis, you might say. The ashes were regained, the Queen was crowned, Everest was conquered, and Wales defeated the All Blacks, something which doesn't happen very often. But something happened in my own young life, which was also of some significance. One evening, my parents took my brother and myself to the cinema, something we did quite often in those days, of course, to see the black and white Mankiewicz film of Shakespeare's Julius Caesar. I'm pretty sure it was the first time I had seen a Shakespeare play either on the stage or in film. Actually, a few years ago at a summer school, I bought the video and my brother and I sat down and watched it again. The scenery, by today's standards, is fairly laughable. You feel that if you put your hand out and touch it, it will soon collapse. But the same could not be said of the acting. James Mason as Brutus, Gielgud as Cassius, the inevitable Claire Bloom as Portia, Brutus's wife, and by no means least, a young Marlon Brando as Mark Antony. I feel convinced that the important thing about this play is that the central character is not Caesar himself at all. He's presented in a fairly unflattering light, and in any case, of course, is killed off halfway through the play. The intriguing character, I think for today as always, is Brutus. Here is somebody who was a friend of Caesar, a great admirer of Caesar, somebody who previously had seen no wrong in Caesar at all. Yet his brother Cassius is a great revolutionary and republican and is determined that Caesar must be done away with. He can see that if he persuades Brutus to join the conspiracy, it will add a kind of respectability to it, because Brutus is such a revered figure. And so he has to do everything he can to induce Brutus to join the conspiracy, to poison his mind against the dictator. What I'm hoping to do, by your leave this evening, is not actually to recite what is perhaps the greatest speech in the play, it must be by his death, but 3 other speeches in the play. I hope that by the time I've finished, it will be evident to you why I have chosen these 3 particular extracts. So in the first one, which is near the beginning of the play, Cassius is persuading Brutus to join the conspiracy and doing everything he can to poison his mind against Caesar. I know that virtue to be in you, Brutus, as well as I do know your outward favour, well, honour is the subject of my story. I cannot tell what you and other men think of this life, but for my single self, I had as lief not be, as live to be in awe of such a thing as I myself. I was born free as Caesar. So were you. We both have fed as well, and we can both endure the winter's cold as well as he. For once, upon a raw and gusty day, the troubled Tiber chafing with her shores, Caesar said to me, "Dost thou, Cassius, now leap in with me into this angry flood and swim to yonder point?" Upon the word, accoutred as I was, I plunged in and bade him follow, as indeed he did. The torrent roared, and we did buffet it with lofty sinews, throwing it aside and stemming it with hearts of controversy. But ere we could arrive the point proposed, Caesar cried, "Help, Cassius, lest I sink." I, as Aeneas, our great ancestor, did from the flames of Troy upon his shoulders the old Anchises bear, so from the waves of Tiber did I, the tired Caesar. And this man is now become a god. And Cassius is a wretched creature and must bend his body if Caesar carelessly but nod on him. He had a fever when he was in Spain. And when the fit was on him, I did mark how he did shake. Yea, 'tis true. This god did shake. His coward lips did from their colour fly, and that same eye, whose bend doth o'er the world, did lose his lustre. I did hear him groan. Aye, and that tongue of his that bade the Romans mark him and write his speeches in their books. Alas, it cried, "Give me some drink, Titinius," like a sick girl. Ye gods, it doth amaze me, a man of such a feeble temper can so get the start of the majestic world and bear the palm alone. So Caesar is assassinated. The news spread through Rome like wildfire. Very soon, Mark Antony, Caesar's greatest, most adoring friend, is on the scene. He plays a very clever political game. He shakes them all by the hand. He says, "Would you like to kill me as well? It would be an honour to die in the same hour as Caesar. Please do it now if you wish." Of course they don't. And then he says, "If only you can explain to me why Caesar had to die, I'll be quite happy. Just give me your reasons, justify what you've done, and I will go along with you quite happily." He then asks to be allowed to address the people at Caesar's funeral. And by doing this, he drives a wedge between Brutus and Cassius. Cassius, by far the more wily and worldly minded of the two, can correctly foresee that Antony will use this opportunity to turn the people against the conspirators. But Brutus says, "Oh, it's all right, it's okay. Let him speak." He says, "I will speak first. I will address the people. I will tell them that Antony is speaking only with our permission, and everything will be fine." And then the conspirators leave the stage, and Antony alone is left with the bloodied corpse of Caesar lying on the floor. And now we find out for the first time what Antony's feelings really are. The rage, the fury that he feels about what has been done. His enormous hostility toward the conspirators and his determination to exact a terrible revenge. "Oh, pardon me, thou bleeding piece of earth, that I am meek and gentle with these butchers. Thou art the ruins of the noblest man that ever lived in the tide of times. Woe to the hand that shed this costly blood. Over thy wounds now do I prophesy, which like dumb mouths do ope their ruby lips to beg the voice and utterance of my tongue. A curse shall light upon the limbs of men. Domestic fury and fierce civil strife shall cumber all the parts of Italy. Blood and destruction shall be so in use, and dreadful objects so familiar, that mothers shall but smile when they see their infants courted by the hand of war, all pity choked by custom of foul deeds. And Caesar's spirit, ranging for revenge, with 80 by his side, come hot from hell, shall in these confines, with a monarch's voice, cry havoc, and let slip the dogs of war. That this foul deed shall smell above the earth, with carrion men groaning for burial. The inevitable civil war takes place. The Battle of Philippi is fought, as you know, and both Brutus and Cassius die as a result of the battle. Antony and his ally Octavian are triumphant. But Shakespeare has one last surprise for us. At last, you may feel, an element of civility, chivalry, courtesy, at last begins to appear. Because just before the end of the play, Antony pays a remarkable tribute to the fallen Brutus, and thus perhaps achieves the kind of reconciliation, albeit a posthumous one. This was the noblest Roman of them all. All the conspirators, save only he, did that they did in envy of great Caesar. He only, in a general, honest thought and common good to all, made one of them. His life was gentle, and the elements so mixed in him that nature could stand up and say to all the world, this was a man. Thank you.